Hi, Facebook world. I'm so happy that you are here with us again today as we turn isolation into inspiration with a class on wet felting. Now, I know that some of you are probably thinking like, what the heck is wet felting? Well, I'm here to show you, and I have to tell you, it's a super fun and very addictive craft because you can literally make anything. So the tools that you're going to need for when you do your wet felting: table with a covering, a bin of warm to hot soapy water, of course soap, a bath of cold water with no soap, depending on what you want to make, scissors, thread, and a needle, and of course, wool roving. Now, wool roving you can find pretty much at any craft store like a Hobby Lobby or places like that, or fabric stores. And it comes in these little bundles like this. So basically it's wool. And what you're gonna do, today what we're gonna focus on making, I forgot to tell you something else you need. An egg, preferably hard-boiled. I have used raw eggs and it does not turn out well. And a stick, because today we're gonna make little tulips, perfect for spring. Okay, back to wool roving. Comes in these little balls. And the first thing you're going to do is you're gonna take, I suggest just ripping, and it's pretty easy to rip, instead of using scissors so that you don't have any hard edges. And you're gonna do what is called drafting. So you're gonna just pull apart the fibers. Now the cool thing about these fibers is that they have like little hooks on them. So when they are layered on top of each other, the little hooks kind of grab each other. So right now we're kind of just releasing the little hooks so that they're easier to grab. So for the sake of time, I've already drafted the colors that I want. I'm going to get a little bit more white. So you just pull them apart gently like that. And you're going to have different layers. So the reason why you need this hot soapy water is because you have to change the pH balance of that wool. And that is what the hot soapy water does. Uh-oh, my egg is cracked already. Good thing I brought a hard-boiled egg. Okay, so we're gonna start out with a blue. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna layer, see that? You're just gonna layer the wool roving over the egg, like that. And you're gonna wanna go in different directions so that you cover the whole thing. So you're just gonna pull apart those little pieces. Just try to hold it together as best you can. I'm just going to keep layering it so that you don't really see any of the white left of the egg. I'm just going to keep on going. Isn't that a beautiful blue color? And this is the perfect craft for springtime. Okay, so I think we've got our first layer on. So see how it's all pretty much wrapped, and it's very loose right now. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna dip it in the soapy hot water, okay? So we're just gonna get it all wet like this. So it's still kind of like loose inside, and you can feel a whole bunch of air in there. So now you have to kind of gently just pass it back and forth between your hands. You don't want to get too vigorous right off the bat, because then you'll end up with all of these cracks in it, the actual wool. So you're just gonna pass it back and forth, and you can slowly, really cool, feel the wool tightening up as the little hooks grab each other like that. So you're just gonna keep passing it back and forth. Now this takes a little bit of time, and as it gets tighter, you can start to use a little more pressure. But yeah, check that out. It's already starting to form. And you want to feel it like get kind of close and tight to the actual egg in there. So I'm just moving it around like this, and now it's starting to form a little bit. So I'm just going to roll it a little bit in my hands. Good thing I have a rag right there because it does get pretty wet and messy. So just starting to roll it as it gets a little bit tighter. As you can see, it's getting tighter on the egg. Now before it gets too tight, I want to add different colors. So I'm going to do a little bit of purple. Oh yes, that's going to look great. Now if you got too much, it's okay just to pull it off like that. And we're just going to wrap it around like that. You might need to add a little more soapy water. Yeah, so you can layer the colors on, whatever colors you want. I think I'm going to do a little of this turquoise here. It's going to be a very fancy tulip. Now, you might want to dry your hands in between putting different colors on because sometimes it ends up a little stringy, but we're going to just go with it for the sake of time. Okay, so we've got our next color on. I'm going to start to use a little more pressure because it's getting nice and tight around the egg. I think I'm going to just add one more color, and that's going to be a little bit of white. Just across the top like that. Okay, we got to add a little more soapy water. Okay. Here we go. Now it's coming together. It's really forming nicely. Yep, as you can see, it's getting tighter onto the egg. It's kind of looking egg-like. Just going to use a little bit more pressure. Now, if you get these kind of like stringy things, it's probably because I didn't dry my hands before I put the next layer on, but hopefully, just pat them down, hopefully they'll go away. If not, we can just cut them off in the end. Okay, so it's getting tighter and tighter. And you really do want to get it as tight as possible to the egg. I don't know if we'll have time to get it super tight today because I don't want to bore you with me just rolling an egg around in my hands because how fun is that? But as you can see here, we are creating this lovely little tulip. And the other things that you can do with wet felting, which are really fun, is you can make flat pieces, which I did with the leaves here. So the flat pieces, as you can see, I did a whole bunch of different colors. You can cut it out. Now, you get this fuzzy kind of edge, which you might want to like re-soap and just work it together so it's not too super fuzzy. So yeah, you can cut out different shapes, and as you can see here, I started making a little baby booty. So you can make a lot of different kind of cool things like purses, hats, so many amazing things. I'm sure that if you went on Pinterest or even YouTube, you would be able to find like all of the really amazing cool things you can make with wet felting. People have created really cool scarves or necklaces. I was planning to do a beaded necklace for you today, but I thought maybe tulips might be more appropriate in the want of spring to come back to us here in New Mexico after our snow. So as you can see, it's getting a lot tighter there on the egg. It's coming along, I think we're close. Yes, so back to things you can make. I have made really beautiful necklaces where you can do this wool felting just around the wool itself. So you're creating a ball, and then you can make different sizes and then string them together on a necklace with beads or whatever. So there's a lot of different options. And if you'd like to learn how to make a purse or a necklace or a hat, just write it in the comments because I'm happy to do a tutorial on that as well. So I think I'd like it a little tighter, but I think just for the sake of showing you the next steps, we're gonna go with this. Okay, so you can see all of our pattern of our different wool. And it's nice and tight on the egg, even though we'd like it a little tighter. I'm now going to dip it in the cold, just plain water bath, just to get a little bit of the soap off. And then we're going to just roll it around again. And that'll just help with the final, just getting it super tight on the egg. Oh yeah, that's coming along nicely, isn't it? Look at that. Okay, we're going to just do one more little, try to get the soap off my hands too. Great. Oh, this is looking so good. I'm very excited about this. Okay, I think that's going to do it. Put that out of the way. Okay, now we're just going to dry it off a wee bit. And this is where you definitely want the hard-boiled egg instead of the raw egg because, yeah, you can drop it or you can crack it pretty easily. Okay, so I think it's looking good, you guys. Look at that. I mean, it's nice just as an egg itself, isn't it? Okay, but here goes the tulip. So you want to take your scissors. Now, which side do I like better? I think I like the colorful side. So I'm going to cut off this blue and purple side. So you're going to take your scissors and you kind of got to get them in there so you can feel the egg. And you're just going to cut zigzag, or whatever petal style you like, along the top here. Now, other things that I have made, I don't know if my son remembers, but I have made, like, just kept the lid on like this and squeezed the egg out and created like a little egg and put like a little chicken side or a little prize or something like that for an Easter basket. Do you remember that, Jaden?
A little bit.
Okay, so you're just going to keep cutting around the egg like this with your petal shapes. I think it does help to stick out your tongue as you're cutting. Almost there. Okay, so now we've got this, which we can use later, and we've got our tulip. Isn't that amazing? Look at that, guys. Now, the next step that we're going to do is we're just going to cut a little teeny, oh my gosh, I'm sticking to the felting. We're just going to cut a little teeny hole in the bottom of this tulip where we can stick. I don't want to go too far. There we go. Stick the little stick that we just collected outside into the bottom like that. And then this is where your needle and thread come in handy. Okay, so now you're just going to sew your little tulip bud closed at the bottom, nice and tight. So first go in through here so we don't see the knot. Oh gosh, it just went right through. I think it's because it's wet still. Make that knot a little bit bigger. Okay. And then you're just going to sew it up so that it's nice and tight on the stick. How cute is that? I mean, come on. That is the cutest. I mean, could you imagine if you had a whole vase full of different colored, cute, wet felted tulips? That would be adorable. Okay, perfect. That's going to be good for now. Tie it off. So a while ago, I made this flat felted piece that has greens in it, which we're going to use for the leaves. So basically, we're just going to cut out 2 cute little leaves for our tulip. Now, if I had more time, I would go back and wet felt the edges together so that they weren't so super fuzzy and look like they're going to fray a bit. But today we're just going to use them as is. So you're just going to take your little leaves, you can gather them a bit, you're just going to sew them together onto the stick. Oh gosh, need a bigger knot. Just like this. How fun is that? And also, I can't tell you how many cool things you can make with wet felting. It's just amazing, and it's so much fun and so easy. Just such a simple, fun little craft. So I'm not even going to tie a knot here, just there it is, guys. There's our cute little tulip. Isn't that fun? Now we're going to add it to our little vase. And like I said, if you want to learn how to do flat felting or any other type of felting, write it in the comments and I'm happy to do a tutorial on that as well. That is just the very basics of wet felting. I hope you had a great time. I know I sure did. It's such a fun and easy craft, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. So if you do make anything or if you have any questions, just go ahead and contact me. Stay safe, stay healthy and vibrant. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, friends.